So welcome back to another Wiki Weekdays podcast.
Yes.
And I am Lucas Holland, and I'm joined by Karl.
Yep. Hello, I'm Karl Smallwood, and today, Lucas, I believe we're talking about supervillains, but specifically lesser-known ones.
Yeah, and I want to clarify that, lesser known doesn't mean that we've managed to find something that, comic book nerds are gonna, never have heard of or anything. It's just generally something that hasn't been in, a mainstream movie that everybody knows about. Just, something a little bit more off the side that people are less likely to know.
Yeah, just something off the beaten track, which I think is, kind of the theme of, Wiki Weekends and Wiki Weekdays, just tracking down stuff that we think is interesting and is, lesser known, or at least finding information that we think is lesser known and sharing it with everyone and having a laugh while doing so.
Yeah, because, it's one of those, if you know, with any fan base, especially, one that people delve into so much as, comic books.
Yes.
When you say something's obscure, you're going to be like, well, I knew about that.
Or
it's yes, but it's not a mainstream part.
Or my favourite comment, which is, I can't believe you didn't mention insert thing that they like. Mm-hmm. It's it's almost like we're different people with different interests. But without further ado, Lucas, we'd like to introduce us to your obscure supervillain from either, DC or Marvel history. While I remind everyone listening at home that you can vote for which wiki should win this week in the comment section of the YouTube video you're watching, or wherever this happens to be uploaded. And let us know whether you think Lucas won or Karl won this week.
Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, hello. We are, this is the video version. And then you can also find us on, podcast services around the globe as well, if you want an audio version instead, rather than having to, pay for YouTube Premium to be able to lock your phone while you watch a YouTube. It frustrates me so much.
Yeah, I find that weird, though. When you said, around the globe, I think that's a bit big-headed, isn't it? I remember, no, you can. And we do have, a lot of, fans of factoring, in America and other countries. And it still surprised me to this day. Thank you.
That's not good.
So who have you brought to the table, Lucas? And what villain? What obscure comic villain have you got?
Oh, I'm back.
Oh yeah, I just thought you were staring really intently at your screen for a second. Because you froze on my end. I was like, are you really reading this carefully here?
So hopefully I can remember to cut that. But yeah, just a little internet connectivity issue there. But yes, today I have brought something that is from the Marvelverse, but mainly because it popped up on Marvel Snap as a card that randomly kicked my ass, and I was like, I've never even heard of this character. Who is this?
Just this villain comes in and stomps your ass, very much like a comic book. Character you've never heard before comes in and stomps your ass. It's there we go. Establish him as a threat straight away. The Wolf Effect.
Yeah, and that character that stomped me was Mary Walker. And we're covering the Earth 616 version, and that is also known as Typhoid Mary.
Okay, when you said Mary Walker, I'm like, that name does not ring a bell, and that's their supervillain alter ego then there, Typhoid Mary.
So, are you aware much of Typhoid Mary, Karl?
I'm aware of the name. Typhoid Mary, it's the lady years ago, in the Middle Ages or something, I think it was, or... I don't know, that area of English history and European history very murky, but she was just a lady who just was a carrier of a disease, typhoid, infected a bunch of people, and now it's just a term commonly used to describe someone who knowingly or willfully spreads a disease. It's probably changed COVID Karen now, shouldn't they, really? That's the it should just be COVID Karen.
We've encountered many a COVID Karen.
We have indeed. So I've just Googled the name, and just the first picture is them with swords about to stab Iron Fist in the face. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's a villain.
It is, and their current alias is Typhoid Mary. Mm-hmm. The other aliases...
okay, these are going to be some good... Where are band names? Let me hear some band... Typhoid Mary sounds like a pretty good band name.
I think, from the looks of it, Typhoid Mary is probably the best one we've got.
Okay.
Code names are Bloody Mary or Mutant Zero.
There's a lot of Mutant Zeros, isn't there?
There is, yeah. Nicknames, Deus Ex Man and Red. I like Deus Ex
Deus Ex Man's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously playing Deus Ex Machina. Actually, and they better be fucking powerful to earn that moniker.
Impersonations, Daredevil, and Siren.
But they're
And
a
then
woman.
other aliases are Linda Lohman, Lila, Mary Walker Fisk. So she must get married to fucking Wilson Fisk at some point.
Or impersonate his wife.
Mary Mazides, I want to say. Sister Elizabeth, and just Typhoid.
That's the one that I'm like, how did she impersonate Daredevil?
Yeah.
Like,
and
I'm guessing just like the outfit, like Daredevil. Because the thing I've watched like that Daredevil show, that outfit is very form fitting.
it is,
Like you can see a lot. You can see like the sculpted likeness of like Matt Murdock's ass. I'm wondering how like a woman with a svelte figure and like pronounced like bust and hips, like how did they impersonate that, especially with like long hair and not being blind?
Yeah, I mean, I guess she only needs to impersonate Daredevil long enough to just stab you in the face. That's one problem that Daredevil doesn't have. And,
Either way,
affiliations, Carl.
What's that? Sorry.
Affiliations for this character.
Okay, go.
It says Catholic Church.
The truest villains of all. Just the Catholic Church.
Like
the real big dick villains.
A bunch of former affiliations like the Sisterhood of Mutants, the Hand, Kingpin, Black Cat's Gang, Deadpool, the Shadow Initiative, Project Psyche, Symbiote Hive. But like, yeah, just when it comes up, like Typhoid Mary about to just stab Iron Fist. What's her affiliation? The church.
Catholic Church. No sex before marriage for you. No dating out of wedlock. Oh, which one of those like groups though would you most want to join, and why is it Black Cat's Gang?
Well, I was gonna say the Sisterhood of Mutants as well, because it's just like Lady Deathstroke and Psylocke and shit.
Oh man, is there like any female villain who's been done dirtier than Lady Deathstrike? Like her entire character is like boiled down to like cracking knuckles. That is literally all she is in like the one movie she appears in. It's just
I mean, if you're talking just movie appearances alone, that was done dirty. It's just like, oh my god, it's a character that like Wolverine can't even beat, and then just like shoves a pipe down her throat and immediately kills her.
Yeah. Like, oh, she's a cool character. It's Wolverine, but a lady. But she has like the cool thing, like she has actual claws, like claws more akin to what an animal has.
She Edward Scissorhands it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Wolverine, he's an animal, but his claws are not, like as analogous. I hate this word. Analogous as to what an animal's claws be, whereas hers are because they come out of her hands, like like a cat's claws. You're just like and I thought the actress was really good as well. Like she really portrayed that like cold stoicism quite. Do you know the bit where like she walks into the office, like Mystique's impersonating her, and to impersonate her, she has to like do the really like just purposeful like power strut.
Yes, yeah.
But then she keeps that strut when she's impersonating the janitor. So she walks like a woman when she's impersonating the janitor. It's kind of a shame. I just think she's been done way dirty by like the Marvel movies. Like not the Marvel, like the X-Men movies.
Yeah, specifically the X-Men ones, I guess. Yeah.
Because the name's just Lady Deathstroke. What a name.
And yeah, like she seems like such a cool character. Like I don't know too much about her, but like just the idea that she's basically Wolverine, but this like badass lady who's a bit more of like a villain / anti-hero kind of character with like, as we say, like the proper just claws coming out of her hands. It's damn cool.
I am always weirded out though, because obviously someone also mentioned X-23. It's like that's female Wolverine, literally. Because she takes on the mantle. I don't like that she only has the one claw in her foot.
I mean,
she has like the
get
two in her hands and the one in her foot.
It's like she's still got the 3 claws on either side, like Wolverine.
No, she only has 2 in her hands.
2 in her hands and 1 on each foot.
Yeah, so she has
still
3
got
in
6
total.
claws all together.
But just for me,
just like Wolverine. But yeah,
just from like the symmetry aspect, I don't like that.
I mean, I quite like it, but
it should be like either one in every limb or 2 in every limb. For me,
but yeah, I was correct. Yeah, she is married to Wilson Fisk.
Power couple.
Typhoid Mary over here, and we do have a quote from
you have a quote from the
Mary
character
herself. She says, "When I was little, I had a pair of red rubber boots. My boots took me places. One day they got lost. I thought they were hiding under my bed, but they're gone. I miss them, all of them. One of us is tender, one of us is not. One of us takes vengeance, all four tied in a knot.
Oh, is this going to be like a split personality dealy? Because that's
Exactly
interesting.
what
I
it is.
love characters who have like split personality. One, which is an interesting like character trait, and two, because writers sometimes get it real fucking bad. Sometimes like writers just don't understand what split personality is.
But she doesn't have split personality technically. She has
okay.
like it is, but it's not labeled. It's dissociative identity disorder.
Because that's what it is in our world. It's like there's a lot of contention about whether it does exist, and if it does exist, it's not split personality; it's dissociative identity. You're right there. But I just love sometimes writers just like fuck it all the way up.
Yeah, totally. And I'm sure that's happened with this character in the past at some point.
Well, of course, yes.
It is the way that things go. Like it's really hard to like do a good job of portraying like, you know, mental disorders and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
as
it
we
does say that
grow to learn more about them.
Yeah. It says that this causes her to have two abnormal.
Oh, is this powers and abilities now?
No, this is personality still.
Oh, okay. Tell me about it.
So it causes her to have two other abnormal alters in addition to her main seemingly normal one. Mary was a demure, quiet pacifist. Typhoid was audacious, lustful, and vicious. And Bloody Mary was merciless, brutal, and hated all men. Don't we all? Don't we all?
Do you know what? The thing is, I need to know now who wrote her comics.
Let's
have a look. Creator.
Try and find out.
Who's the creator listed?
Creator. Does it say on the wiki? Creators and appearance. Anne Nocenti and John Romita Jr.
Oh, okay, then. Okay, I don't mind that. So I was just thinking, is this a cat like she hates all men? That sounds like something written by a woman with a tongue in her cheek, or a man who's like, fuck women! So it sounds like it was written
both.
A collaboration between a man and a woman. Okay.
And Mary occasionally manifested a fourth alter, Walker, who acted as a moderating influence on the others. Just like a fourth one coming in, being like, hang on, guys.
That's a busy subconscious right there, and it's like, this could be an interesting character to see. It's like after watching the Moon Knight show, and like seeing Oscar Isaac, just like, he looked like he was having so much fun playing two characters at once.
All three characters, Karl.
Oh, well, that's the spoiler, isn't it? Do you watch like the making of where they talk about how secretly we hinted at the third personality all along? And I was like, no, they didn't. And I rewatched it, and it's like every time he looks in a mirror, because like mirrors are a huge like theme in that show. Like you sometimes see the mirror, it's a different person looking back. And like, fuck, they did do that. Just every now and again, the mirror, who's sort of like a third person will look back. Or Joe, when you see his reflection, they always show two, so you can see, or three, so you can see all three personalities at once. It's like,
I was gonna say, do they do it where the reflection in a reflection is actually the third one or something like that?
And it's like, you know what, and that's the thing as well. Not only did Oscar Isaac have fun, also the people like making that show, writing it, had fun, because like they would think, how many mirrors can we get into this scene?
Yeah, of course. Like that must have been though such a frustrating thing to film. Of like, how many mirrors can we throw into a filming sequence? It's like, stop. We need the camera to be somewhere.
Yeah, so that's if people don't like mirrors are a ball ache to film with, because you can sometimes see the camera in them, and that reminds me a little bit of I think it's John Wick 2 or 3. I forget which one is the one with where he fights Ruby Rose. I think it is where he fights Ruby Rose in like the Hall of Mirrors, and the director of photography just went over to the director and went, "Look, there's no fucking way we're going to be able to film this without the camera appearing in it. So just shoot the action any way you want, and we'll just CGI them all out."
Yeah,
because they realised like the set was so cool looking, they didn't want to limit how they could film it by not worrying about the camera appearing in reflection. They went, fuck it, we'll just CGI it out when it appears in camera. We want to film the action because this set looks so cool.
Like, that just sounds like the director's nightmare, doesn't it? Of like, where are we filming today? Oh, just a hall of mirrors. Like, oh, fucking great, fantastic. Oh dear.
That's a character for the modern age. It's just like, they hate all men. But yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like a character that's really gonna do well on the inside. Like, we couldn't even get a She-Hulk show where they like joke about it. Like the most gentle ribbing towards like weird nerd men. So I remember when that show came out, they have the scene in it where it's like the men leaving the comments about She-Hulk of like, oh, why does every comic character have to, or why does every superhero have to have a female alter ego now? And I remember I went to a fact fiend video we'd done on, I don't know which character it was, but a female superhero. And I tracked down, there was a comment that was literally almost that verbatim, when the writers who made this show, they know. They were like right on the money when it came to this one.
Yeah, like they predicted so much of the reaction to that show before, like, obviously it even come out.
Which is simultaneously impressive, but also not impressive when you realise it's really easy to predict the reaction of weird men online to anything involving superheroes and a woman.
Yeah.
But it did really make the show feel like it was reacting to criticism, even though it wasn't, because, you know, it was filmed like, you know, years, like, you know, over a year ago.
Like, for example, when they were like, oh, we've got Wong in this one, so now we've got, like, the Shield from Twitter for the week. Yeah. And it's like, that's genuinely what happened.
Yeah, and it's I commend the writers of that show, because, like, She-Hulk, one of She-Hulk's powers is breaking the fourth wall. The fact that the show itself was referencing things that were happening in response to an episode that aired the week prior, but they'd filmed 6 months to a year ago, was really impressive, and it made the characters, it broke the fourth wall even harder, in a way, and helped sell, like, you know, that aspect of the character.
And I'll only go briefly over, like, the early life of this character, because basically, like, there's some sensitive material of, like, her father abused her and stuff.
A common trope.
Hence, like, the hatred and the you know, the mental break in her character to have a new alter ego that then, like, hated men. It does say she met Matt Murdock before he became Daredevil. He was there to attack a villain at the brothel where Mary worked. To his surprise, the girls working there defended him. And then, in a moment of panic, he lashed out against the women, knocking Mary out the window. At that moment, Mary vowed that she would never allow a man to hurt her again, and she became Typhoid Mary.
Are you telling me that Matt Murdock accidentally kicked a woman out of a window who was a victim of a sex crime, and we've never heard that brought up before? Are you telling me that's a thing Matt Murdock did in a comic book?
Apparently so.
That he accidentally kicked her out a window? Okay.
The Daredevil section of this goes, like, some places in a very short period of time.
Okay, the thing as well, do you think that Matt Murdock, like, jokes, he's a lawyer, could he use the excuse, I'm blind, for doing that?
Like, I didn't realise I accidentally kicked her out.
I'm blind, but Matt Murdock, your superpower's been able to see, right? Well, technically I can't see, per se.
Oh, dear, but yeah, so to do with Daredevil...
Okay, tell me a interaction with Daredevil after being kicked out of a window.
So yeah, when she's Typhoid Mary, Typhoid frequently worked for the Kingpin, who then obviously she ended up marrying, and often battled Daredevil. During this time, she had a romantic relationship with Matt Murdock.
Oh, so she didn't know that Daredevil was Matt Murdock. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
I don't know who this character is, but it says, during the Acts of Vengeance, Doctor Doom sent her to defeat Power Pack.
So she's also working for Doctor Doom as well.
I'm very confused. Power Pack, I'm not sure who they are, but that's another day right there.
That's another Wiki weekend right there.
It is. At one time, Daredevil manipulated Typhoid into bed, tricked her into reverting to her Mary persona right before he had had her taken away in a straitjacket. Like
he tricked a woman into bed.
Made her
had a mental break.
Like,
I'd have committed to him.
Disassociate from, like, the Typhoid Mary persona in her head to then just trick her and send her away in a straitjacket.
You know what? The fuckboy Matt Murdock persona in She-Hulk is really starting to, like, you know, make sense now. Like, fuckboy Matt Murdock is just, like, you know, tricking women into bed and then doing the, like, it's not even a thing of, like, you know, leaving her not calling, just having her committed to a mental hospital so he doesn't have to talk to her again.
Like,
that's some next level.
Matt.
Just, like,
I really hope he went to fucking confession after that.
It's like, that's the thing, Matt Murdock's a committed Catholic and he's just tricking women into sleeping with him and getting them sent to hospital.
Like, he is up there as, like, number one fuckboy in the Marvel universe.
Oh, he is, yeah. That's one of the things I found hilarious, like, in the She-Hulk show. Like, well, Matt Murdock wouldn't sleep with a random lady. It's like, that's all Matt Murdock does. They talk about it in the Daredevil show, don't they? Like, Matt, you're blind. Why do you always go out with total fucking smoke shows? And he's like, yeah, all right.
Oh, God.
That's incredible. Matt Murdock kicked her out a window. Slept with her. Got her sent to a mental hospital. Fucking sick, says Matt Murdock.
Oh, dear. And then it says that, not to be a character in fucking New York and not get, like, the perfect trifecta down of, like, the 3 characters that she's notable for having confrontations with: the Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Deadpool. So there we go. That's it.
Just the 3.
Those are the 3. And it's like, yeah, it goes through, and we could talk about the fact that, yeah, she was also working for Lady Deathstrike later on. She was the first recruit for the Sisterhood of Mutants. And then she was also seen...
She doesn't sound that great. She got kicked out a window and just... But someone who hates men, she certainly fell for the same guy. Literally, in one case, like, more than you'd think.
Yeah, and then, like, for somebody that hates men, ending up with Wilson Fisk, of all people.
Who's, like, literally 300% man. He's like this. He's so much man.
Yeah.
We don't know which personality fell in love with this, though. We don't know.
We don't. And I guess then, like, to see how impressive Mary is, we'll go to, the powers and abilities section.
I want to hear this. I'm guessing each one has a distinct power set or something like
that. No, it just straight up looks like she's a mutant that possesses, like, a number of powers.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, the effectiveness of her power set differs on which alter is in control.
Okay.
Innocent Mary and Walker typically have no access to her powers. Typhoid, Bloody, and Mutant Zero all access her telepathy, telekinesis, and pyrokinesis to varying degrees. Although Mary cannot access her own powers, Typhoid has occasionally expressed their powers through Mary while Mary was in control and without Mary realizing it. Oh, so at any point, like, she could just, like, throw fire at someone because
just not now.
Another personality decided, fuck it.
Well, that's the thing, pyrokinesis is such a terrifying power to have and not know that you have it. Because pyrokinesis, the control of flames and fire, doesn't necessarily mean that you are immune to the effects of being on fire.
Nope.
You can create fire, but you're not immune to its effects. That's terrifying.
She has the power to ignite, extinguish, and control/manipulate fire. And it does have her energy projection at a 6 on the power grid.
Which is good. Like, the maximum is 7, which is, like, nigh omnipotent or godlike in Marvel, like, canon.
And then, she on the power grid. Nothing else is, like, ridiculous. Her fighting skills are 4. Intelligence of 3, and then strength, speed, and durability all at a 2.
It's average human then, of, like, her weight and build. The thing for me is
just above, yeah.
Do you really need to be that good at fighting if you can just set the person on fire? Like, most people aren't good at fighting when they're on fire.
Like, unlike some other characters with pyrokinesis, she can ignite it.
Yeah, so she can create.
She doesn't need a fire. Like, she can create it. Yeah, because if you can ignite fire, like, you can ignite anything.
Yeah. Well, they're in, like, the X-Men movies, don't they? They have, like, the guy who controls fire, and he says, I can only control the flames. I can't create it. And Magneto's like
that little Zippo lighter around with it.
And Magneto just looks at him and goes, you're a fucking idiot. As long as you've got access to, like, a basic object you can get near enough anywhere on Earth, you are a god. So,
Yeah.
as long as you've got a lighter, you're effectively invincible. What the fuck is wrong with you?
And I'm pretty sure, like, that character normally carries around, like, a massive flamethrower or something.
Yeah, he has a flamethrower attached to his back, usually, yeah.
Yeah. Which, is the smart thing to do when you need fire to use your powers.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh my god.
Okay, tell me about it.
It does say here, the telekinesis is something that kind of we've already alluded to in the past being way more powerful than it sounds.
Okay.
Her telekinesis is she can levitate small objects over short distances.
Yeah, which sounds like weak telekinesis. But does she do the thing that we've always talked about of, like, just because you can only lift up a small object doesn't mean you can't use it in an offensive manner? Does she, like, make shit float around?
The only thing it mentions is more defensive.
Okay.
It says, she can move weapons under 10 pounds, i.e. knives, razors, etc., make a knife spin in place, or retrieve her weapons if they are dropped.
She can do Yoshimitsu's, like, back square. Just
But it
that
says her
power alone
bloody
is the scariest thing ever. Like in a fist
Oh, yeah.
fight against any street level hero, if just like she's there just with her regular self, but off to the side is a spinning knife. You're gonna win that fight 9 times out of 10 because like
Yeah.
doesn't matter how bad she is at throwing a punch if at any point that knife just comes at you.
Oh, but yeah, her Bloody Mary persona often gathered and assembled small metal objects into improvised battle armor.
That's amazing.
Of
cool.
just like picking up scraps from the streets
It's
and
pots
just
and pans
be, like,
robot.
made out of like scrap armor.
That's good, yeah. That's what like Toph does, isn't it? In like Avatar, which is
yeah.
like just like dives through a metal door and wears it like armor.
So again, like that limited amount of telekinesis she has, it just sounds like if you can utilize it creatively, it's so much more powerful than it sounds.
Yeah, it's I've got telekinesis. I can only lift up an object that weighs 10 pounds. Okay, do you know what weighs less than 10 pounds? What's that? A razor blade. How fast can you move the object? Well, as fast as I can think. Okay, so a razor blade traveling at 300 miles an hour. You can't think of a way that's scary or could be useful in a fist fight.
Yeah, because it never says at any point, like, when it says she can move razors. It says over short distances, it doesn't say how fast.
Yeah. Even if it's only over like short distance, like just having, a knife just floating in front of you pointing forwards.
Just having a razor blade at any point in your back pocket that could just slice their throat.
Yeah.
Realistically, that's what she could do mid-fight.
Also, I've said like my thing. Do you remember we talked about bullseye? And I talked about like firing hot dogs at people. Imagine that. Just like, random small objects in the environment. Like, do you know when your opponent's like running towards you? And you just imagine just like, bits of debris off the floor, like, a newspaper just flies into the face so they can't see.
Yeah. And Karl, just reiterate the hot dog moment if people aren't aware.
So we were talking about in a previous Wiki Weekends, or Wiki Week, I forget which one, about Bullseye the hero who can just throw objects with like unerring precision. And I said, can you imagine if like you were walking down the street and he fired a hot dog into the back of your throat? Like if you were just holding a hot dog and went pew and just fired it at you? Because he could.
Because like the moment you open your mouth, Bullseye is precise enough
to throw the hot dog
in. You could just lob a hot dog down your throat and choke you out.
What are you going to do? That's the thing, though. She could do that, but she could do it with like 10 hot dogs. Like, imagine you just fighting, just getting slapped with hot dogs. Or water. Or a wet towel. It's like, the possibilities, and I'm glad that we've covered a hero, or a villain in this case, who actually utilises telekinesis in an interesting way that's not just pushing people over.
Yeah. And we'll just cover her telepathy because that's the last of her power set. So she can implant mental suggestions in the mind of others. She can induce sleep in a weak-minded individual and most animals.
Yeah, so most men.
Yeah, most men. Create sensory ghosts as a distraction, causing people to look away.
That's actually really clever.
Yeah,
that's a real again. This character
saw a ghost.
That's what I mean. No wonder she kicked your ass in Marvel Snap. His powers are. She's not that powerful, all things considered, but utilizing her powers in this way of like, okay, she's not that powerful a telepath, but she is skilled enough to make you think you saw something out the corner of your eye. And
she's also clearly like quite a smart fighter.
Yeah. It's like, she doesn't really need to be that good at fighting if she can just make you think, like, your phone's gone off in your back pocket, and you're like, oh, what's that? Bang. Punch in the face. From off camera.
And this bit, like, sounds really fucking powerful if you utilize it the right way.
Okay.
While she is typhoid, she can compel people to take simple actions without thinking about it, like reaching for a blade or kissing her, letting her predict their next move or guiding them into traps.
Oh, man, she can make you step on a Lego.
Yeah, she could.
And then she could move the Lego there in front of you.
Like, take one step forward, bam, there's a Lego under your foot. Oh, you never know.
She just made you do that thing.
Like, 2 items in her back pocket at all times, a razor blade and a Lego brick, and that's all you need.
Like, do you know that scene in like Home Alone where like one of the wet bandits just steps on that nail?
Oh,
and it's like the worst thing ever. Imagine she could just do that all the time.
They do it so slowly in that shot. That's what gets me every time.
Because you think he'd feel it after the first like inch it goes in, but he puts his foot all the way down.
Oh, and then the last note on it, she apparently has the power to psionically seduce men using a combination of behavioral psychology and telepathic prods to make them quickly become obsessed and fall in love with her.
The thing is, though, I've got a page open here. I've not scrolled down it because I've been waiting to you cover it, but just a picture is she's like an attractive redhead. Does she really need to like do that? Ooh, she can psionically seduce men. It's like she's hot. And she's a little bit crazy, which we all know is all you need in that universe. In the Marvel universe, if you're a redhead with a fiery personality, you're gonna get laid.
I mean, it's not wrong.
So you have like
I'd say like Matt Murdock can attest, but like Matt Murdock's just slept with everyone.
It's like you don't need. It's like, Matt Murdock's just like, have I hit it? It's like, no, I will. I'm gonna hit it. Fuck boy, Matt Murdock.
Yeah,
man.
paraphernalia for Typhoid Mary here. So as Mutant Zero, she's got a full suit of body armor that enhances her physical strength and arsenal of weapons.
It's even
scarier, her weapons, it just lists guns, swords. That's it. Just like she doesn't need anything special.
That's the thing. She's a pragmatist. Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's very few people in that universe who you should probably deal with on a day-to-day basis who can stop a gun.
I mean, yeah.
Like, if you're doing hit work for like Wilson Fisk, he's not going to send out just someone who's a little bit strong with minor telepathy to fight the Hulk. You're probably going to be like, shaking down just thugs.
But as like a hitman, or a hit woman in this case, I guess, like she could just hide around a corner, telepathically just move a gun around the corner and get you shot.
She could just also as well make you think, oh no, there's like, a car gonna hit me, and make you jump backwards into traffic.
Yeah.
Do you know what Mysterio does where he gets Spider-Man hit by a train? She can just do that without any of the bullshit he's got.
And one thing I do find interesting in the notes here.
Yes.
It says, when Mary changes into Typhoid or one of her other alters, her physiological traits, i.e. like heart rate, respiratory pattern, scent, etc. also change. That means Daredevil was unable to recognize Mary as Typhoid. Like, Mary and Typhoid is the same person, despite his enhanced senses. And even sighted people often believe the alters are different people.
Okay, that probably explains why she could simultaneously date and hate Matt Murdock / Daredevil. So I was thinking, like, one thing I didn't consider, so you mentioned that, is like, hang on a second, she doesn't know that they're the same person, but Daredevil probably should. And that's probably, I was thinking, I'd never considered that until you mentioned it. Like, hang on a second, Daredevil can just read people's heart rate and recognizes what they smell like.
And that means that, characters like Wolverine couldn't track her if she just changes alter, because that means she's got a different, like, scent.
That's kind of interesting. That's like, you know what? You've brought a real good character to the thing. I've never heard of that character. She's super interesting, and now I want her in a movie or a TV show.
Like, definitely bring her into the Daredevil TV show.
Oh, she'd be a great villain.
That sounds like a really good villain to actually, sit down and take a look at, rather than just going like, oh, here's a card on Marvel Snap that kicked your ass. Like, actually looking into Typhoid Mary, she seems rather interesting.
It also sounds like it'd be a great villain for Matt Murdock to fight, considering that her power set seemingly perfectly counters his own.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea, and you could do some real fun stuff with that in a TV show as well. Like if you could get some like really dramatic costume changes on that actress.
And then you could also, with the whole She-Hulk side of things, like presumably they will continue to have some kind of relationship, and then you could have like Typhoid Mary trying to seduce him and trick him and stuff. But then that gets She-Hulk pissed off at you. That's probably a bad idea.
You probably don't want to piss off She-Hulk. Like, imagine like getting kicked by like the Hulk. Do you know what kick the Hulk does to like Emil Blonsky? And he just smash cuts to him in hospital in a full body cast. Imagine that kick, but the person's wearing high heels. That's gonna sting.
Like, she could, I guess, make She-Hulk not kick her and then run. That's the moveset she's got against She-Hulk. It's just distract her with a ghost and fucking run.
She just makes she just sets like your hair on fire.
Oh, but yeah, that was a fun little dive.
Yeah, Typhoid Man. I'm really interested in that character now. That's a super fun one, and I'm not sure mine's gonna beat it. Because I think my character I picked is a bit more well known, if only because of what race the character belongs to. And I've also chosen a character from Marvel's history, And my character is Kl'rt, the Super Skrull.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So people know about the Skrulls.
Know.
The Skrulls have been in Marvel, but do they know about the Super Skrull? So, first of all, Lucas, do you know anything about Kl'rt, the Super Skrull?
So, is this the character that I'm thinking of from Ultimate
It's the
Marvel?
one from Ultimate Marvel, yes, because they couldn't get the Fantastic Four.
So, as far as I can tell from that game, it is a Skrull that has the abilities of all 4 Fantastic Four characters melded into one.
Yes, it is, and hence the Super Skrull. So people are familiar with the Skrulls from the MCU. The Skrulls have basic shape-shifting abilities, and there is Secret Wars coming up. But the Super Skrull, as the name suggests, is not just has the ability to shapeshift, but mimic the powers of superhuman individuals. And the Super Skrull was specifically designed to have the powers of the Fantastic Four combined. And the Fantastic Four are fucking ridiculous on their own. Now you put their powers into one guy, you've got a Super Skrull!
Also, yeah, like, Karl meant Secret Invasion, shut up in the
Secret.
comments.
Oh, sorry. What did I say?
But you said Secret Wars, which is also coming.
Oh, God, yeah, I get those. Hopefully people can understand why I get those two things confused.
I know someone would be shouting in the comments if I said nothing. But yeah, like, so are they, when you said designed, are they like genetically engineered, this Super Skrull?
Oh, we'll find out, won't we? So I'll cover here with first a quote from Kl'rt, the Super Skrull. What better way to die than on your feet with blood in your hands and fallen enemies underfoot?
Ooh. And
he is a brutal character. And like in Ultimate Marvel, he is so fun to play as because he's the only character who has like the disrespect move. And it's called Worm Crush. It does almost no damage. It only works on enemies that are on the floor. And he just stomps on their dick and like do that thing where you stomp and rub your foot. The Bayonetta, just like step on me mummy. He's got that move.
Oh god. And like, yeah, that's all I know the character from, but I've always enjoyed their moveset in that game. So
it's so fluid.
As you say, they're not overly well known outside of that, like, probably one game. And even then, like, I've played that game and know nothing other than they've got the moveset with, like, you know, the Fantastic Four built in.
You also know as well that he's got death penalty. And that's where he just, like, uses, like, he just dives on them from, like, you know, the atmosphere, faces the opposite way, and then just rubber band, like, thing fists them 50,000 times. But he just turns into, like, one of those, like, tube guys, like, woohoo!
So the thing is, like, Mr. Fantastic is already scary, but you can turn his fists into thing fists, set them on fire, and then stretch his arms at you.
Yeah, while telekinetically holding you in place. Or he could do that while invisible. So you're just there, and then an invisible, stretchy man with big flaming rock fists starts punching your dick. Oh, we have it though. So name, Kl'rt, current alias, the Super Skrull, and his aliases include Joshua Plague, Lonza League, Pariah, Ronin, Subject NX75, and Warlord Kl'rt. And impersonations as a Skrull include Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, I guess impersonated both of them, Franklin Richards, Franklin Storm, Invincible Man, the Iron Fist, Thing, Walter Lawson. Like, conveniently left out there is any other members of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and I presume the Captain Marvel is probably like the one that preceded Carol Danvers.
Potentially,
yeah. But just on. It's weird though to have a list of impersonations as a Skrull. Yeah, when it should just be impersonations every fucking person.
It should be, in the fact it's like Thing specifically, but not any other members of the Fantastic Four. But Iron Fist, would you think it'd be like, you know, that'd be Kl'rt's, like, you know, just purpose built to impersonate the Fantastic Four. If that was Kl'rt and I hated the Fantastic Four, I wouldn't even, like, you know, try and kill them. I'd just go in as, like, you know, Reed Richards and just Elon Musk getting tanky stock prices.
See, I was going to go the opposite way.
Okay.
I would then impersonate Doctor Doom, team up with Doctor Doom so that they can be like, there's two of us now.
Two Doctor Dooms. No, I think it'd be better if you just go on CNN, just disguised as Mr. Fantastic, and just start saying crazy shit to tank the stock prices.
It's like, I'm going to spend 44 billion on Twitter and you can't stop me, and Reed Richards is watching the TV. Like, what? No.
I'm going to impersonate Johnny Storm and drunk drive all day. You can't stop me. The thing is what I love about this as well, if you go on like his relatives, it's like he's got a wife.
Oh, okay.
But that's the thing that you never expect. Like, he's like, you look at him and he's like this green alien who punches people, and he's got a wife in the comics, and it says here, estranged, presumed deceased, marital status separated. Like, can you imagine Super Skrull with fucking divorce court?
Just like hiring She-Hulk to just get him out of fucking alimony paychecks. Just like, please. I haven't even seen her in years. She's presumed dead at this point.
When we have his physical characteristics, male, 6 foot tall, and here's one that got me: weight, 600 pounds. That's a lot. That's a
dense person.
Like, Super Skrull is fucking dense. Hair, no hair at all. Skin green, and then like this juxtaposition of skin green, unusual features, large pointed ears. He doesn't mention the fact his skin is green as an unusual feature, because I guess he's not in Marvel. It's not that unusual to just be green.
And I do like as well that, Super Skrull has the Thanos chin.
Yeah, he's got like the weird testicular chin, like the grimace.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like some other personal information, it was like he has no secret identity, citizenship of the Skrull Empire, and his occupation is an adventurer and a diplomat. It'd be great in diplomatic relations, wouldn't it? It's like, listen to what I say, or I'll just like fly into the atmosphere and just punch you with my giant rock stretchy fists.
Well, I guess like you probably want to be good in those kind of situations, because realistically, he can impersonate any like leader of any nation and just get whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. And we have here like his early life, so you want to find out about the Super Skrull. So before he was became the Super Skrull, Kl'rt was a decorated soldier in the Skrull army. This led a wealthy Skrullian countess. He married a countess to be betrothed to him. He spawned 2 children, a son and a daughter. He favoured his son and hated his daughter.
Oh,
come on, no. Super Skrull, what are you doing? However, his duty and devotion as a soldier kept him away from his family. However, after a string of defeats, the disgraced Kl'rt was turned away by his mate and banished from his home planet. Oh, Super Skrull.
Like the disgraced soldier that your planet doesn't even want you anymore.
When his daughter grew into adulthood, she sought to win her father's respect and join the Skrull army. While on a mission to recover a gem from the Kl'rt Empire, she was caught in it. She swallowed the gem and it permanently bonded to her body. Discovering that she could not die, the gem in her system and its removal would kill her. She went into hiding. This failed mission put even more shame upon Kl'rt's home.
Oh.
Just every member of his family sucks ass.
Oh dear, like, also, fuck him. Why are you trying to seek his approval? He sounds like a sack of shit.
Upon discovery of this failed mission, Kl'rt vowed to one day find his daughter and kill her for the disgrace.
Fucking hell, this is what I mean?
Listen, you think so? At least I did pick a villain.
You
that
did.
Was the prompt, pick a villain. And he's done.
Yeah.
This is before he became the Super Skrull.
Yeah. Christ.
Oh, would you like to hear about how he became the Super Skrull, though?
I am intrigued, yeah. Like, because
okay,
it just sounds like he was a regular Skrull.
He was a very that's the thing, he was a regular Skrull, but he's very devoted, and that's how they got him. So under the rule of Emperor Dorek the 7th, sorry, Kl'rt became the first Super Skrull. He was endowed with the powers of the Fantastic Four and sent to Earth to conquer it after the Fantastic Four thwarted their previous invasion attempt. With the powers that were stronger than his foes, the Super Skrull was more than a match against the Fantastic Four. And it says here that Mr. Fantastic, however, deduced that his powers were artificial and beamed him from the Skrull throne world. So he built a jamming device that cut off the Skrull's power source. Powerless, he was imprisoned inside a dormant volcano. So he only gets his powers while, the Skrull home world.
He was like downloading them from the Skrull home world.
He's got always online superpowers. He's got those EA superpowers.
Oh, what happens when, he tries to log back in for his powers? It's like, have you got a code for your online pass? It's like, no, please.
Oh, do you know what my favourite bit about this, though, is? As I was scrolling down his life story, because he was, in a really early Fantastic Four comic. Like, those really quaint, campy ones from the 60s, and he gets more and more realistic, but some of them, every now and again, he's just, fighting like a lizard. And you can see, every now and again, he gets drawn super detailed and scary, and then every now and again, it's like a knobhead.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, he's got a pretty, obviously working with the Fantastic Four, he's been around for a good long while, and there's a bunch going on. But I love the idea that he was just such a dickhead. That's the thing about Super Skrull, he's a dickhead and he loves it.
Just sounds like a fucking asshole.
Yeah, well, he's a villain. And then his power grid
is.
is like really interesting because his intelligence is a 2. So he's not very smart, but his strength, speed, durability, and energy projection are a 6, 5, 6, 6, respectively.
Ooh,
So it makes him like
strong.
potentially one of the strongest characters, like, in the universe. Like, safe, like the ones that are beyond, like being able to measure them in that particular regard.
Like god level and shit.
Yeah, because he has the power of 4 of like incredibly powerful beings. Like, presumably one day, maybe one day we'll do like a bumper episode where we cover the Fantastic Four in one go or something. But the Fantastic Four are ridiculous individually. So combining their powers into one individual who can use them all simultaneously. And as you saw the description, where like, his powers are greater than that of the Fantastic Four because he's able to use them in tandem to enhance them. He just doesn't have. He just lacks their intelligence and ingenuity in combat.
Pretty sure that like Johnny Storm alone is like an Omega level threat or something.
Yeah, he could. Like, just one little tidbit from his wiki is that he can ignite his flames to be so hot that the atmosphere of the Earth would catch on fire.
Yeah, that was it. It's like he could just burn the Earth, and then
it's like of them,
the
Mr. Fantastic
has that power.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic's probably the weakest, which is why he's like, but his intelligence is what makes up for that. So, but his power's not that great when you combine it with, as we mentioned, being on fire or invisible.
Thing is, like, I've watched a lot of One Piece, Karl, and I will tell you that I think Mr. Fantastic just isn't trying hard enough.
He does it in the comics. It's just in the movies. He's never really had a chance to shine because they kind of treat him like it's that Aquaman syndrome, isn't it? Of people presume the character is a joke, so they play up to that rather than try and just do something that would surprise you, because he just does as well. His power just doesn't look cool.
No, it doesn't, and that's why I think something that's way goofier, like One Piece, gets away with it more because they lean really hard into it. Whereas trying to make it look good in like the MCU, where like the only real representation we've had in actual MCU is obviously like that one scene where he stretches his hand out very slowly and just gets ripped apart.
And like that live action directors know that his powers look lame, because when it was like Miss Marvel, they went, fuck it, she's got magic light powers now. The stretching thing just doesn't look cool.
And I think as well that's probably to differentiate the character from
just a tad,
the Fantastic Four, because they're obviously bringing Mr. Fantastic back soon. And then
even in like his appearance in like against Wanda, I'm part of the Illuminati. We beat Thanos.
One slow reach, and like because I think a lot of the time when there's like rights issues, a lot of the things like Inhumans and Kamala Khan are like replacing characters that they didn't have the rights to and wanted to bury. So like Mr. Fantastic powers got transferred to Kamala Khan kind of thing because they didn't want to make Fantastic Four comics anymore.
Never forget that when Marvel couldn't get the rights to the X-Men back from Fox, they killed Wolverine. And they released like a statement saying he's absolutely, definitely dead for reals, totally this time. And the instant they got the rights back, they went, no, he's back.
Like, here's a new run of Fantastic Four comics for the first time in like 15 years or something.
And like Wolverine's back too. But yeah, powers and abilities, that's the fun stuff we should get to. So, shape-shifting. Like other Skrulls, Kl'rt is a shape-shifter. Thus, he's able to rearrange the molecules of his body at will into any form, shape, or being perceived that he chooses. This allows him to imitate the appearance of any of the members of the Fantastic Four, as well as their powers, due to his secondary ability, Super Skrull Engineering. So he's got a hypnotic gaze.
Oh.
That's just like, a byproduct of being a Super Skrull. He has limited hypnotic abilities, the limits of which are not known. And then we have here the meat and potatoes. Fantastic Four mimicry. The Super Skrull has been bionically re-engineered to possess combined superhuman powers of the Fantastic Four. So this equals his cosmic energy power receptors. His body has been surgically implanted with numerous power receptors, which grants him the ability to gather the same cosmic energy that mutated the Fantastic Four and mimic the functions of their powers. Originally, this power had to be fed to him via a special satellite. As time went on, while he still relied on this transmission of power, prolonged exposure made these powers begin to become permanent. It appears that he no longer requires the transmission beam to maintain his powers. Therefore, Super Skrull can mimic the power sets of the Fantastic Four, but gain more powers than the original, because he still has the ability to absorb that radiation. You know,
Right,
they
yeah.
absorb the radiation, it mutated them. He can absorb it forever.
He just keeps getting stronger and stronger over time as he absorbs more of it.
Yeah. As a result, he can fly faster than the Human Torch, stretch more than 100 miles, lift more than 100 tons, amongst other things. And he can do all of them simultaneously. So he could be 100 miles long and fly like the speed of sound.
Like, imagine that clothesline coming in.
I was about to say, can you, if he just stretched his arms out to 100 miles wide and just ran across America and clotheslined everyone?
Fly and he could turn them into the Thing as well. It could make his arms rock hard and clothesline 100 miles of country in one go.
Then you could just decimate the forests. He says here that, the powers of the Human Torch that he's able to, a limited amount of the powers of the Human Torch he's able to mimic include pyrokinesis, so he can control ambient heat energy and the physical ability to transform his entire body or portions of his body into a theory, and here's where it gets better than Bloody Mary, unfortunately for her, plasma-like state, which means that it has no tangible physical form, which means that if he transforms into that state, like the Human Torch can, he's basically unkillable, because the Human Torch can turn into living plasma, and anything you hit him with just either gets immediately burned up or passes straight through him harmlessly.
And this is the start of his powers.
Yeah, the start of his powers can turn into living plasma and be invincible. And obviously, as well, he's completely immune to all flames and heat differentials, so he could go walk around on the sun. Fire manipulation, he can generate shapes composed of any fire from any point on his body, so he could fart a river of flames or something like that.
That's the first thing you go to.
Which is what I'd do, yeah. He can also fly with mental stimulation of his flame, form a jet of fire from his feet directed behind him, and then heat absorption. And it says here, and I quote, you can absorb an infinite amount of heat. Which means that he's a really good counter to the Fantastic Four because he can just take it.
Just turn around and the Human Torch is literally useless against him then.
Yeah, because anything the Human Torch can do, he can just absorb it. And then all the powers of the Thing, the most prominent being, superhuman strength. He possesses superhuman strength beyond the natural limits of even the strongest Skrull. His limits are sufficient enough to lift well in excess of 100 tons. He has, emitted force high enough to hurt incredibly tough beings, such as Thor or the Silver Surfer. The Herald of Galactus himself.
Yeah.
And then again, we're only halfway through. All the powers of the Invisible Woman, including invisibility, pretty self-explanatory. But then also the psionic force fields of the Invisible Woman. So through concentration, projects a field of psionic force, which can manipulate in a number of relatively simple forms, such as rectangular planes, cylinders, globes, domes, cones, etc. And I just like the idea of making a big square and just put, do you like the mime thing of being trapped in a box? But imagine if he does that, but then then the box is on fire.
It just slowly heats up.
Yep, just ever so slowly. So he clearly doesn't have as much control over, the Sonic Force. Or maybe because he's not as intelligent. He lacks the creativity that would naturally be required to make an interesting shape. So I know the Invisible Woman can do things like make those force fields inside your head, or she puts them around people's heads so they can't breathe, for example.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's the thing. We should cover the Fantastic. Maybe we can do a wiki on the.
Now that we've got the rights back to them,
I guess maybe if people want to see that in the comments, let us know. If you'd like us to cover the Fantastic Four in an episode or something. Over the course of 2 episodes, they would be quite lengthy, I imagine, because there's a lot to cover.
Just dedicate an entire podcast to the 4 characters.
No, but then all the powers of Mr. Fantastic, including his plasticity, so the ability to change his form at will, elongation, which he can use for both grappling and movement, and then he can combine powers, and this is where the Super Skrull shines. He can combine and use more than one power at a time, which allows him to combine them in various ways. For example, he can create force fields in his flames so that they do not extinguish, amongst other things. And what would be the way you'd combine these powers, just for you?
I mean,
Next thing,
straight away, the 100-mile long clothesline sounds like a good shout.
I wouldn't do a 100-mile one. I would do 50 miles that way. 50 miles that way. Set both hands on fire, and then I'm just going to spin. I'm going to do the biggest double lariat the world has ever seen.
That's That's like some Incineroar shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the darkest of darkest lariats.
But I would do it while also psionically making sure I'm stood on top of, like, you know, an orb.
I think I'd quite like to, you know, put me and somebody else in a force field, then rub a man around them, turn into the thing, and just keep heating.
No, wait, no. Do you know what, like, Dash does in Incredibles? Like, Violet makes the orb, and he's they just create the pain sphere. I'd do that.
But set it on fire.
Yeah, I would get, like, Quicksilver to join my side and say, Quicksilver, trust me. Step inside, step into my office. Get him inside that, and just, like, let him go wild, but then also the orb is on fire.
The fiery orb of, like, just infinite speed and death.
Yeah, and then I'd fly, like, 100 miles into the air, and I'd, like, go, like, a city, and I would play it like pinball.
Oh my god, yeah, like, I didn't even think about the fact that he realistically could just fly into the air and just meteor bomb back down.
Yeah, that's why that's one of his moves in, like, Marvel. Where it's like his meteor strike,
like,
where he uses, like, his elasticity, he throws his hand into the air. Like, you know, he puts all his weight into one thing, then just, like, you know, Johnny storms his way towards the ground with giant thing fists.
But if you just turned completely into the thing and, yeah, went max speed back into Earth from space, like, how much of a crater is that making?
Oh, enough to, you know, at the very least do enough damage to finish a combo in Ultimate Marvel. Then we have... don't forget his abilities as well, because he is, like, you know, a trained soldier in the Skrull Empire, so he has Skrull military training, so he's an excellent hand-to-hand combatant, and you're a really good hand-to-hand combatant. We can fight from 50 miles away. Like, try fighting someone who's at, like, you know, they're at home. He's at home on his sofa, and just sends his fist out the door and kick your ass with it.
An invisible fist out the door.
So he's good at aviation, so he can drive, like, advanced warp drive using starships of the Skrull military. He's, you know, excellent in unarmed combat, due to his involvement in the Kree Skrull War and fighting the Fantastic Four on multiple occasions. He's an excellent marksman, not that he needs it. Like, his fist can reach further than most weapons can. And then this is why I like creative power use, because the Super Skrull is more creative in the use of his powers when compared to the Fantastic Four due to his lack of concern for human life, i.e. decapitation.
Holy shit.
Well, I guess if you don't give a shit if you're going to kill someone, it's like the Fantastic Four always have to worry about collateral damage. He doesn't.
No, if I've been taught anything by Zack Snyder, heroes don't need to worry about that shit, Karl.
And then weaknesses, his physical condition. Despite his power enhancement, he's still subject to fatigue, disease, and injury.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still, at the end of the day, like, you know, a Skrull.
Yeah.
And a Skrull beam dependence form. I like it's called the Skrull beam.
What's the Skrull beam?
Well, that's the thing that kept him his powers from the satellite.
Oh, right, initially, but he doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah. And his paraphernalia is this, like, you know, a standard Skrull military uniform, which, you know, owing to the Skrull's unique biological nature, can, like, you know, provide life support in space and change its, you know, appearance at will. A military kit, which includes, like, you know, weaponry and stuff that you might need, and then a military transport kit, such as, like, you know, just a warp drive starship.
So the standard Skrull military outfit,
yep,
can withstand all of those Fantastic Four powers. Because I assumed, like, you know, he'd need some Edna mode on the case.
It just says here that he changes size and shape. Doesn't mention anything about it being specifically tailored to his power set. But I imagine, like, there's probably comic explanations somewhere that he gets a special one.
Like, could he just ring up Reed Richards and be like, I'll not punch you in the face this week if you can develop me a super suit, combines all 4 of your suits.
Well, maybe he just walks around naked. If you can be on fire all the time, do you really matter if you're naked?
You could just pretend you can shapeshift to look like you're in clothes.
I guess so, yeah. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then we have here, there's, like, just one note here, and it's his legacy. Despite being the most feared warrior in the Skrull Empire, for obvious fucking reasons, he is an outcast of his race. And despite this, Kl'rt considers himself to be always loyal to the Skrulls, and many in the Skrull Empire consider him to be a relic from a bygone era, but there are those who consider him to be a hero. And that's kind of like, you know, that makes sense. It's like, he's like the finest, deadliest soldier we have, and it's pretty good that he likes being a Skrull. Mm-hmm. But we don't like having him around because he's really fucking dangerous.
Like, that's thing, he was already a disgraced Skrull in the first place.
And now he's the Super Skrull. And that's how they, like, managed to lure him into being... It's kind of like Rambo in a way, isn't it? That thing of, like, you know, he was, you know, a special forces soldier, like, you know, who bought into the whole like the patriotism aspect of fighting for his country, did his duty, and then they're like, no, fuck him.
But like, they should be really careful if they're aware that he's now a super Skrull that can just burn their planet down. Because at any point, he could just decide, I've had enough of being just, shafted by you guys and told that I'm banned from the planet. I'm just going to burn you all.
But he does say that he is like fanatically committed to the Skrull Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't imagine he's going to change his mind anytime soon. But just the idea of like, we made the greatest soldier ever, and because that's the thing. That's just Captain America, but better in it. Like Captain America's like, I was genetically engineered to be the perfect soldier, and Kl'rt's like, oh, that's sick. Like, oh, how far can you punch someone away from? It's like, not this far. You can't set on fire. You can't fly. You're the greatest soldier ever in this universe. Fucking hell. You're what this planet considers to be a super soldier. You can't fly. You don't have giant rock fists. You can't psychically, set people on fire.
That is true, but at the same time, obviously, Captain America's like title is like he's the peak of human potential.
He's not the peak of Skrull potential like Super Skrull is. One of the things I want to mention that I like about Skrull is that artwork of him is always either really cool or really bad, because the artist obviously always wants to try and use all 4 powers at once, and it's really difficult to draw that. And it kind of shows like which members of the Fantastic Four have the more interesting power set, because literally almost every time they draw him, he has a sphere around him of like psychic energy and just one stretchy hand.
Right.
But then he's like, he's on fire with rock face. It's like, it's always just the sphere. He's always inside the sphere if he's like doing the Invisible Woman's power.
That's the thing, isn't it? I do wonder why he wouldn't just be similar to Johnny Storm on fire all the time.
Yeah, it's that thing like they want to show him using all 4 at once, but in a combat scenario, realistically, you'd only want to use
realistically, you'd just be plasma man at all times.
Yeah, if he was going to do that, he would be on fire all of the time, except for the fact that he would be like, sending out psionic balls of this fire at people in every conceivable direction at once. Like, why would you ever use the stretchy form when the stretchy form can be physically harmed or damaged? Mm-hmm. Like, the plasma form is just so much more efficient.
Even like the Thing, it's like the Thing is incredibly
resilient,
tough, but it's not invincible. It's not like it's impervious to damage.
And there are counters to being like in his flame forms. It's like, removing oxygen, but he's wearing a suit that allows him to breathe in space. So even if you deprive him of oxygen, like, and kill his flames, as it were, Johnny Storm's flames, as specifically written in the comics, has been immune to that.
Mm-hmm.
And Super Skrull is more powerful than Johnny Storm, so that wouldn't work. So he does like, it's one of those things of like, because he has this thing, it's like that. I feel like writers and artists are hamstrung on the fact, well, he's got to use all the powers at once. Like, but why would you? Why would you not just use the fire powers all the time? Like, why would he bother getting into a fist fight with the Thing when he can just be on fire and invincible?
Just melt his legs.
No, that's so on it. Not even melt his legs, just fly into his eyes.
Oh, God.
Just at once. But yeah, that's Kl'rt the Super Skrull. I've greatly enjoyed learning about Typhoid Mary.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed learning more about how ridiculously powered Super Skrull is, because just know him from a fighting game where it's like, obviously they're all meant to be like similarly powered kind of thing.
But that's how much of a dick he is. That's the thing. That's why I wanted to cover the Super Skrull, because like, I'm wondering if he is going to appear in like the MCU, because they've like done the thing about the Skrulls are actually, it's the twist, isn't it? The Skrulls are actually nice. It's the Kree are bad.
However, they've kind of done that thing of setting themselves up as, well, we are one aspect of...
Yeah, there might be some like...
This is like one clan within the Skrulls.
And I do hope we get...
Presumably Secret Invasion will be the bad Skrulls have now appeared.
Mm-hmm. And I do hope we get a Super Skrull.
I hope we get a Super Skrull. If they're doing Secret Invasion... Like, you'd think that's got to be reasoning to put Super Skrull in.
Just for his personality, of like just being unapologetically a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a hero, a villain who doesn't give a fuck. And he's like, I'm just going to punch people and set them on fire. And the fact that he's so arrogant and confident in his abilities. But I love when villains are like just super cocky and they can back it up.
It would be interesting if they changed Super Skrull's abilities to be more along the lines of like he could copy anyone in the MCU roster, but like
We've already had Taskmaster.
obviously that would make him far too powerful.
Yeah, and we've had Taskmaster, and they didn't really do that too well.
But Taskmaster can only like mimic what they see.
Yeah.
Whereas like obviously the Super Skrull can like literally change his like
it's just,
you know.
They've already tried to do the
body.
thing like they have everyone else's powers already, and they didn't do it that well. But either way,
No, they didn't. Yeah.
the fucking Super Skrull, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, if you'd like to help us decide which wiki won this week, you can do so in the comments below. And do you have any ideas for next week? I did mention like doing the Fantastic Four one. Like, you know, we don't have to do that next week, but if you got an idea for
doing
next week,
comic
maybe?
books like week to week might just be a bit much.
It might be a bit much, yeah. So we'll put that on the back burner for now. But if you got any ideas for like what we could cover on the next episode?
I think we just do another surprise pod.
Okay, so we're going to bring out anything. So next week, it could be anything. Just something myself and Lucas are going to bring from the depths of the internet and try and entertain and educate everyone listening at home.
Hope so, and hopefully people have enjoyed the wikis that we brought today and have learned something new about a comic book.
I
really,
fucking did.
hopefully.
I learned that
certainly
like
did.
Typhoid Mary is a top tier card in like Marvel Snap. I want to build the Typhoid Mary deck.
Oh my
And it's
God.
just her and it's going to be her, Matt Murdock. Do you know what? We could build like the fuckboy deck. And it's just all the characters who canonically just fuck all the time. You've got Wolverine, you've got Matt Murdock, She-Hulk, Typhoid Mary, Raven Darkholm, and Mystique. Just get all the characters who canonically just fucking get it consistently and thoroughly.
I want to know if they've thought about building like those cards to work together. The footboy deck.
The Matt Murdock one is just like the power is sleep with an opposing card, don't call, and it just damages morale. Do you know where She-Hulk's
Send him away in a straitjacket.
Yeah, do you know when She-Hulk's like on that in the show, she's on the app, it's like, oh, come on, text me. And they're like, did you text him back? She's like, yeah, a little bit. And they're like, oh, the mental damage.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
it.
thank you all for joining.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
And
you enjoyed
subscribe
this episode.
for more content like this. Maybe not exactly like this, but like this.